Most business owners are buying AI tools right now, setting them up, very excited about the possibilities.
And then, well, nothing. The results are disappointing. The AI tends to feel quite generic. It doesn't really know you or your business, really.
And the reaction is usually, AI just doesn't work for us.
But that's not really the problem, right?
Now, the problem is actually the context. Your AI has no idea who you are, what you do, or how your business actually works.
And that is why today we're going to explain to you a concept that absolutely fixes this. Wait for it. It's got this sexy name. It's called Cognitive Context Fabric. But once you understand it, the way you implement AI into your business will never be the same. So stay tuned in. Welcome back to the AI and Marketing Podcast for Local Businesses, the show that gives you practical, proven marketing advice to help you grow your business right here in the UK. My name's Adam. I'm a best-selling Amazon published author, AI enthusiast, and AI presenter, and founder of www.websitedesigners.london. We've helped businesses generate tens of millions of pounds online through smarter design and marketing.
My name is Josh. I'm the founder of ImproveMySearchRanking.com, a specialist SEO and AI search agency based in London, a 3-time award winner at the UK Search Awards. Over the past 10 years or so, we've worked with well over 1,000 businesses, helping them generate over £200 million in sales. Cool.
Okay. So let's break this down, shall we, Josh?
Yes. So I guess we'll start with the big problem with how businesses are using AI as of right now. And I think it is simply that most local business owners think that AI is essentially a search engine. They type in a question, they get an answer. It looks, pretty clever. It's really fantastic for drafting up emails, but how useful is it for running your business? And this is the kind of issue people are running into. They think, is AI actually valuable? And a study by MIT in 2025 showcased that 95% of organizations kind of reported on no measurable return on investment for their use of AI. I mean, if you're spending, was it £20 a month on AI, you don't need to make much back from it to be positive. But apparently most businesses aren't even doing that.
Or I guess they're spending maybe kind of tens of thousands of pounds on maybe enterprise licenses or trying different new AI tools, spending lots of time. And I think time is also probably factored into this measurable return. But I do think this report was more so for, larger organizations. But ultimately this, I think it's all still valid, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the thing I think when I hear that most businesses can't take advantage of AI, it's because they are, as I just mentioned, using it as a search engine. AI isn't integrated in their business in any way, shape or form, really, other than the fact that they're going into it and asking it a question. And that is where everybody's falling short. So you really need to input all your business information, which we're going to go through in a short while. But the analogy to think about here is really if you hired a brilliant new team member, but didn't train them in any way on your processes, your systems, how you do business, and just said, get on with it, they're not going to be a particularly good employee, even though they have the potential to be a great one. And that's where people are failing, I feel, with AI right now.
100%. So look, we at the beginning of this, at the intro, we mentioned 3 words. It sounded very complicated, and I promise you, it's not. We'll break it down in plain English. So, cognitive context fabric. What on earth is that? So, it's. Let's break it down into the 3 words it comes in. Cognitive. So that's the thinking part. The AI doing the reasoning. Context. That's everything AI needs to know about your business to think correctly for your customers, for your tone of voice, your rules, your processes, how you do things. And fabric, that's the connective tissue, the connective layer. So that's basically weaving all that context together to the AI reasoning. So essentially weaving together the thinking part and the knowledge about your business. Think of it like this, a simple analogy. So your brain is the AI, your context fabric is your memory. Without your memory, the AI is useless. And if we to stick with this analogy, if you wake up every day you'll have amnesia because it doesn't necessarily have that context fabric. So essentially we're saying every single day you'll have to be told from scratch where to work, what you do every single time. And now in a previous episode, we talked about what makes a great prompt, and there were 4 kind of key components there, right? Your task, your output, your persona, and your context, i.e. tell me a little bit about, or you're telling AI, the LLM, your ChatGPT, your Claude, whatever, a bit about the situation. So what we're saying here is this whole concept of cognitive context fabric, or being able to use AI in a great way, the context element is key. And if you want to continue telling AI the situation, everything about your business every single time, starting from scratch every time someone uses it, then fine. But if you're really implementing AI into your core processes, changing the way you do business, and really harness the power of AI, you need to ensure that memory, or the context fabric, is integrated into your organization. So what a lot of companies do today is AI firstly only infers patterns and then gets the wrong response, right? It just assumes, it doesn't have the accurate business context. So cognitive context fabric is a system you build that gives your AI that permanent, reliable understanding, so you don't have to tell it each time or guess or remember each time.
Perfect. So now we know what cognitive context fabric is. How can we use that, or that context element, as a competitive advantage for our business? So thinking about this, if you were to think back a couple of years ago, the AI model you used mattered tremendously. So ChatGPT 4 versus a lesser model, there was a real stark difference between them. Nowadays, the gap is closing quite quickly. Each of the models are becoming almost commodities, and soon every business will somewhat have access to roughly the same amount of AI power. I mean, I suppose huge organizations might have more if they're buying servers and having massive compute in house. But as a local business versus other local businesses, the same AI power will probably do the same across all businesses. So when you have the same access to the same AI models, the thing that's going to set your business apart from others is the organizational context. And that's the kind of, the differentiating factor. And what context means here in this instance is how and what the AI you're using understands about your business, about your workflow, how you handle customers, what happens if things go wrong, how to convert a lead, why leads don't convert. Basically, all the information and knowledge you have as a business needs to be built into this tool, which I think we're going to break down in the next section.
Absolutely.
So the businesses that do this will have a system, an AI tool that can help in every part of their business and help increase productivity, and go well above and beyond using your chatbot as a way to draft up an email response. So this is potentially the new competitive moat for businesses. It's not actually the tool itself, because everybody will have access to it. It's the context you build in and around it.
100%. So let's get straight into it. We're going to tell you 5 things that your AI needs to know about your business in order to make this successful. And then Josh will finish off by telling you how you actually integrate that. Now, without stealing Josh's thunder, think of these 5 things integrated into this huge one document or Bible, if you like. So 5 things that AI needs to know about your business. Starts off with who you are. So what services do you offer? Where are you based? What do you specialize in? What makes you different? What's your unique selling point, your USP? What's or how Americans like to say, your niche or your niche, as I like to say.
Correctly.
I always think of, sorry to the American audience. So I always think of Gary Vee whenever someone uses the word niche. He always says niche. You got to have a niche, man. And then number 2, who are your customers? Who buys from you? What do they really care about? What problems do they have? What are common objectives? What are the frequently asked questions that they have, that they ask you? Thirdly, how you communicate. What's your tone of voice? Is it quite friendly, bubbly, or is it quite professional? What language do you use? I mean, that can mean a number of things. It could be foreign language. It could be, if you've got a global audience, it could be the type of language you use as well, your tone, and things that you refuse to say. So if you're in a kind of medical business or something, you might never want to say certain things because of certain guardrails in place in your industry. Number 4, how your business operates. What are your processes, your pricing logic, your policies, terms of business? And finally, number 5, your history. So perhaps you want to include past conversations, past campaigns, what worked, what didn't work. So those are the 5 things: who you are, who your customers are, how you communicate, how your business operates, and your history. Ultimately, most businesses have all of this scattered over emails, documents, in their brains, WhatsApp threads, staff members' brains. And again, we're going to put every statistic that we've used across this podcast we'll have in the show notes. But another 2025 survey did kind of come out and quite rightly highlight that 42% of businesses need 8 or more data sources just to deploy a basic AI agent. So not even half will require 8 or more different bits of information. So we're asking you to collate it all in one. And that's critical knowledge that will remain locked away in the various Dropbox, Google Drive, messages, legacy systems. But we're asking you to put that in one, and appreciate that this takes time, right? But I always say to people, just block out an hour a week, pull this together, because it will save you 10 hours next week in the future. It will help 10x your business. The job of building everything I've mentioned, those 5 points, that's essentially your context fabric. That's a job of bringing all this together in one place so AI can draw from it consistently.
Perfect. So now we understand that kind of context fabric, or why it's important and what we need to do. I'm going to show you or tell you how we could actually create one yourself. So you don't need to be technical. You don't need to be a developer to kind of create this for your AI system. It's a fairly simple framework. So step 1 would be to create what Adam alluded to as a kind of business Bible. So it's a document that covers what you do, who you serve, your tone of voice, your key messages, your pricing principles, common customer questions and answers to them. And this is the kind of foundational element of things. So you need to write this document. I mean, I suppose you could write this in conjunction with your co-author, another AI bot. So you could write this yourself as a first draft and work with an AI to kind of finalize it. So that's step 1. Step 2 would then be to build your process library, or your SOPs, which is something we'd like to discuss on this podcast. So you need to document your most common workflows. What are the onboarding tasks, the offboarding tasks? What are all the elements of your service, your product you provide? Put them all together into a process library. And this, for example, that would be like, another example will be, how does a lead get handled? How what's the process, the sales process following up that quote, etc., etc., etc. So 1, business Bible. 2, process library. 3 is you then take that information, you feed it into your AI of choice, whether that be Claude, ChatGPT, or another system. Or if you're a bit more advanced, but we won't probably touch on it too much in this episode, is to kind of build your own lovable CRM system that has not only all this information about your process and your business, but also connects to your sales process and all other things. But that's probably a discussion for another day. So we're going to take that Bible and process library, feed it into your AI tool, and this is your kind of system prompt for the future. And so keep updating this as you go in the future, as you add more processes, add more products and services. So having the right data fabric allows organizations to scale safely, coordinate decisions across systems, and ensure automation reflects real business priorities rather than just making one-off decisions in isolation.
Fantastic. So before we kind of slowly wrap up here, there are 5 things we just want to highlight about mistakes to avoid when you're thinking about this. Some people treat AI like a search engine, so they fire just a one-off question with zero context, expecting them to know everything about their business. So, to provide a expert level response, but it's like asking an employee to write a sales pitch, and they've never they've never had any experience doing so. You've not told them what your processes are, your policy is, what, how much of a discount they can give, etc. So don't treat AI like a search engine, essentially. Number two is you can't assume that AI remembers. Yes, there is a feature on some of these LLMs nowadays where you can add to their memory. Unless you actively tell it to remember, it may not remember between sessions. So every time you open a chat, it might not remember. You can create a GPT. Again, that's another tool available. But unless you've built a context system, any sort of context system, it will start afresh every single time. You will have to give it context every single time. Mistake number three, if you just build it and just forget it, then again, your business might change its policy over time. You might develop things, you might change your pricing. If you don't tell the context fabric, i.e. tell AI that your policy has changed, then it's gonna give you stale information, stale responses. Number four, if you make it too complicated, the AI might get a bit confused. If you give it conflicting information, it might get a bit confused. So just try to be quite direct, quite straightforward with it. Number five, skipping the human layer. So without the right context, some people can misjudge and just lean on AI a bit too much. So you've got to have that human in the loop. So yes, you can have smarter decisions, but you need those decisions to be handled and reviewed by a human, because that will give you the best outcome. So it's not just about the inputs and outputs that AI gives, but it's also about what you do with that information, the output. So those are the kind of top five things to avoid there.
Perfect. So finally, moving on to what this means for you as a local business owner specifically, is firstly, as a local business owner, you have a nice advantage over big organizations, big corporations. That's because you know your customers personally, you understand the market at the street level, you have a deep understanding of the context that a generic AI tool simply just does not have right now. So that's one advantage you have. And the challenge, though, is getting out of your head and into this system. So that's where we need to take all the tips we just gave you by building that Bible, building that process system, and feeding it into your AI of choice, so it can have that context to use going forward. And a nice kind of practical example of this is, imagine you're a local plumber and you feed into your AI system the 50 most common customer questions or inquiries, your typical pricing ranges, your service areas, the tone of voice you use on the phone and via emails. And then that AI will be able to respond using those 50 most common questions and all that context you've given it previously. So when it responds, won't be generic, it won't be robotic, it'll and sound almost as if you did it yourself. And then contrast that with somebody who just goes to ChatGPT, copies someone's email and says, write me a response to this message, enter, and then it will give you a nice, generic response that's not contextual or in your tone of voice or have any of the extra good stuff that we want. So context is simply the difference here.
Absolutely. So let's just bring this all together now. So we've covered a concept that is quite technical, cognitive context fabric, but in reality, it's just common sense. The AI is only as smart as the information you give it, quite simply, right? Cognitive context fabric is a system you build to give your AI that edge and understanding of your business. So instead of output being very generic, like it will give to any other person that asks the same question, it will produce the results in the same way that you would communicate to your stakeholders.
So yeah, the businesses winning with AI right now are the ones who are not the ones who are using the most expensive tools, but instead the ones that are giving those AI tools the most context and feeding in that information.
So one key takeaway, if you take away anything from this, just write down who you are, i.e. your business, by the way, who your customers are, how you work. That's your foundation. Start from there. Once you've done that, pop it into if you're still using an LLM instead of agents, pop that into the memory of your large language model. You can just tell it to remember this, or you can just go to the settings in the memory bit, or you can create a GPT. Those are the kind of three ways. We've talked about saving things in your memory, I think, in a previous episode, but reach out to us if you're struggling there. So 3 takeaways. I'll take the first one, Josh. 3 takeaways. AI without context is just almost like an expensive, I was going to say, chucking a load of money at something. So the reason why you might kind of feel a bit underwhelmed when you use an AI tool is the absence of context being fed to them. So you have to fix the context to fix the results.
Number 2 would be your business knowledge is your competitive advantage. So when every business has access to the same tools, the same models, the same AIs, the ones that have the best documented information, processes, systems, those are the ones that are going to work best with this new future.
100%. So today, just write you can start today without any technical language. Just write a simple document covering your services, your customers, your tone, key processes, load it into the AI tool. A single step will absolutely immediately improve everything your AI produces for you. So if you found this useful, please subscribe, leave us a review, and share this with another business who's been frustrated with AI or who thinks AI is crap, because the answer isn't just, oh, wait for better AI, it's better context.
And if you need any help, hands-on help implementing this in your business, head to improvemysearchranking.com or website designerslondon.co.uk or drop us an email.
Or
we work, or .london, isn't it?
not
It's
that. Yeah.
website designers.london, isn't it? Yeah.
That's it. Forget the .co.uk. Don't go there.
Yeah. Somebody else.
Yeah.
We work with businesses across the UK every single day on this type of thing. So, and if you use the code podcast20, you can get an exclusive listener discount of 20% off.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for listening. Catch you on the flip side.